This screencast is a more elaborate demonstration of the two-box model in which we include Monte Carlo simulation. We're going to focus on the data generating process. We'll pick a semi-realistic example, and we'll emphasize that the difference of the sample averages will bounce around, and we'll look at the standard error for that difference more closely. Okay, let's move to the Excel file, two-box model. Here it is. So let's proceed to the high school sheet. Notice we've got high school and college. We're going to set up two boxes, one for high school, one for college. Let's go with high school. So let's pick a population of 1,000 high school students. We're going to go with a log normal distribution for the box. I'll explain what that is in a moment. And we'll pick an average wage of $10 an hour. An SD of $5 an hour. We're going to take a sample size 100 every time we do this. Here's a picture of our population. This histogram is a graphical depiction of this distribution, this entire population, which is 1,000 people. Notice it goes to row 1001. Okay, so let's draw a sample. And you'll note that the green cells here, those indicate that these people are members of the sample. We've got a total of 100 green cells because we're drawing without replacement. So here's our sample, and corresponding to each one of these cells is one of these numbers from the population. We can do this again and again. Let's watch the sample average bounce around. There's the sample average. There's the sample SD. And it's just the average of the numbers in this sample who are drawn from this population. We'll be doing some Monte Carlo work in a moment, but let's turn to the college setup. For the college, let's make a box model. And again, we'll have, let's say, 1,000 college educated people in our sample. And we'll do a log normal distribution once again. We'll pick an average wage of 15. An SD of 10. There's more spread among college educated people. And we'll draw sample sizes of 100. So here's our college picture. If we compare this distribution, we've got it's shifted to the right relative to high school, although that's a little hard to see. I would note that the scale ends here at $36 for high school, and it goes all the way out to $100. And you can see there are people who earn more than $36 in the college sample. So let's draw some samples. Okay. Once again, you can see each time we draw a sample, we had different people from the population, and we get a different sample average, a different sample SD. We're now ready to talk about the difference in sample averages. Okay, let's draw a sample from each box. And we can do this again and again, and what we can see is the difference in sample averages is going to bounce around. Okay, so we're ready for Monte Carlo simulation. We're going to look at how high school and college differ from each other, and we're going to focus in on this number, which is the difference, rather than looking at the individuals here. And of course, we're going to want to think about the variability that we get in that difference. So here we are at the Monte Carlo simulation sheet. Monte Carlo simulations go very fast. Here's 1,000 of these things, and in fact, we can do, let's say, 10,000. So let's explore what's going on. Okay, so here's a picture. The difference seems to be centered on 5, and it's centered on 4.998 in the 1,000 repetitions. The spread, the variation of the difference in sample averages is approximately 1.06. The largest sample difference was 9, the smallest was 1.1. College, always 1. Okay. Now, this SD is an empirical estimate which approximates the standard error of the sampling distribution. We can compare it to the exact SC of the difference. There's sort of a brutal formula for calculating that. What's going on? Well, we're using the correction factor. There are two correction factors which apply. So P7 and P9, that's the correction factor which applies, takes the population size and the sample size, and applies that to the SD of the box, the college box. High school is very similar. Okay, and if we take those things into account, it's basically the SE of the difference is the square root of the sum of the squares of the individual SEs. The individual SEs have a correction factor applied to them. We can note that our Monte Carlo is telling us that this formula is correct. The spread is about 1.06, and the exact SE is 1.06. Let me emphasize, the Monte Carlo is an approximation to the true sampling distribution. The true distribution of the differences in sample averages we're going to get when we draw from these two boxes. So that's pretty much what's going on. In the next screencast, we'll present a homework problem.